Hello guys, today I'll talk to you about fixing your G05 X5 here. This is the 50i, this is 2020 50i, and what happened is I was at traffic light and the check engine came on, and car shook a little bit and felt like it's gonna turn off. So I tried to give it some gas, I put it in neutral, tried to give it some gas, and get me by to go home. So anyways, I hooked it up to the, got the codes. I'll post them in the description and try to edit this video and put the screenshots in there. But anyways, it was an oxygen sensor. The first day the code came out as the heater circuit that was bad. So okay, the next day, I ignored it. Next day, it started giving more indicative that the sensor is bad. Say bank 1, sensor 1. So I looked it up. I think bank 1. I think it was bank 1. Bank 1 is this side here, and sensor 1 would be the one before the catalytic converter. Sensor 2 would be the one after the catalytic converter. I ended up disconnecting the sensor altogether. It's actually better than keeping the sensor connected, because what happens is when it's completely disconnected, so if it's like still working, if it's connected and still working and giving wrong readings, the car might go into like rich mode, or depends what sort of reading it's getting back, and it might, you might smell like really awful gas smell from the exhaust and whatnot. I would disconnect it. What happens is these newer cars, probably old ones too, when you disconnect the O2 sensor, the computer reads an open circuit and defaults to a lean map, which is better than defaulting to like running rich. You don't want to run rich; it'll ruin your catalytic converters, and the car will misfire and throw a lot of other codes as well. So what you want is disconnect it until you're able to fix it. What's going to happen is you're going to feel the car is underpowered. The response is not the way it's supposed to be, because it's injecting less fuel in the system. So anyways, what I did is, luckily these leads here are fairly long. So what I ended up, I thought, I had a rat in my garage. So I wanted to isolate if the rat had gotten into the car and chewed some wires, or maybe the ECM wire got chewed, and it coincides. There was a coincidence that there was a rat in the garage and this happened. So what I did is I took this here and connected it to this plug. It reaches, you just do it the other way, and then took this guy and connected it to this. So now the code should swap, right? And that's exactly what happened, because I was looking at the monitors. Bank 1, sensor 1, it was completely dead. There's no readings, nothing. So when I switched it, it came alive, and the other one died. So at least I knew the ECM is fine. There's no damaged wires beyond just the sensor. So anyways, I ordered the new sensor. You can find it online. This is a Bosch 17251, so you don't need to go buy an original one from BMW. It's around $300, but essentially it's the same sensor, 17251, and we'll just plug it in. You're gonna have to undo it. So you can see this one is not even, doesn't say BMW on it, because we're gonna have to undo it from here, and you need a special socket for that. They are all the same size. I think 21 or 22 with an open side, so the wire can go in, and then crack it open and then put the new sensor in. It's the new sensor that I ordered. I actually found it on eBay, surprisingly cheap. It was around $100 from one seller. I will double check these numbers here, but it just looks exactly the same, and it is that's the part number here, 17251. Bosch is the best in the business, and BMW uses Bosch as well. So by the way, AutoZone AutoZone has this sensor as well, but it was not in stock anywhere or available to ship. It's they sell it for $144, and it should fit M550, X7 50i, and the X5 50i as well, the G05. So let's go ahead and undo this one and see how the sensors look like. All right, so we took the sensor out. It wasn't a whole lot of effort, honestly. It's just it was a little hard, and then but I used the breaker bar. I bought a 1/2 inch drive. It's 22mm socket. I just took this out, and you can see, I'm not sure if this looks okay or not, but regardless, this is the new sensor. And first of all, you can see the plug is exactly the same, and the numbers do match exactly the same. The top ones, and you can see the manufacturing date. The top one is December 20, 2023, and this one is March 4th, 2019, and that makes sense. So this is actually original. Surprisingly, that's hilarious. Yeah, no BMW logos on it or anything like that. Look, it's exactly the same. But the top number is what you're interested in, and they do match, so that's perfect. So this is a 2023 stock sensor, I guess. 2209, that's probably the clock. That's 1109, and this is 1232. Anyways, so now that we know the plugs have the same number, let's look at the sensor itself. You can see there's not a whole lot of threads, but anyways, it's you still have to use the socket to actually get it out. So the new one comes in with thread anti-seize already applied to the threads, which is awesome. You don't need to worry about that. Just don't get it on yourself. Anyways, you can see it looks exactly the same. Both numbers match on the new one and the old one, which is perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and put that bad baby on and connect it, clear the codes, and let's see how the car runs. All right, put the new sensor in, and you don't want to tighten it too much, just enough. I don't know the torque specs, to be honest with you. You just tighten it, but not too much, because you don't want it to break, and there's no need to tighten it too much. There is a crush washer here, or I don't know what you would call it, but when you tighten it, it'll fold. It'll get compressed. But anyways, since I'm using a 1/2 inch breaker bar, you could apply a lot of torque on this without noticing, because it's just so easy. So you just want to be very careful with this. I would actually use a smaller wrench. Just it'll give you a better idea of how much torque you're actually applying. Nonetheless, put it in, routed it, make sure you give it enough space in there, and just put it here. You run it through here, and there's plenty of slack, and then this goes back here. So we're gonna go ahead and clear the codes and fire this puppy up and see what happens. Oh, I also use this tool. Not a particularly tall guy, 5'8", 5'9", but it's extremely annoying. You need to be really tall or something to be able to bend and actually put your head above there. But anyways, climb this here, put my knee here, and rest on that bar. I was able to look down at the hole and thread it in by hand first. All right, guys. So rearranged the codes. Car started right away, no problems. Everything is great. The sensors values are coming in. It needs some time for it to actually clear the permanent codes. Once it completes the emission test cycle, it should clear up. So anyways, that takes probably 100 miles driving or a little less. Depends on the car. So take it for a drive, and everything seems to be just working perfectly now. Alrighty, that's it. Don't spend for OEM parts. This is the OEM part. Alright, catch you later in another video. Hope this helps you. Take care, bye bye.